I mean, Caleb, the fact you don't know what a globalist is, and bro, I'm all right, bro. I mean, you're not even smart enough for this conversation. I mean, bro was talking about low crime, and then you're talking about why I live in the inner city. And I'm just like, that made you at least 10 times more stupid. But you know what? Shut off Lasting because he said it right. They're going full retard, bro. Never go full retard. I mean, it is what it is, Vlad. It is what it is. I guess I guess I'm a bit of my tipping point. I'm tired of people talking like they know something. Then when you prove them completely wrong, they double down on the ignorance. It's like, that's tough. That's tough. I mean, bro, don't even know what a globalist is, but want to have a political conversation.
Last week, they even went to a point further than starvation called famine, worst food hunger you can get into.
Wow. Highest number of child amputees worldwide. I mean, it's just sickening that we're doing this to kids. What crime did they commit? We gave Netanyahu a blank check.
Would it be your impression that many of our politicians are under Israeli influence?
That's such a mild way to put it.
Mainstream media is been taken over by extremist groups. Most of what you see is either AI or footage used from Syria.
The IDF commanders we spoke to said they are the most ethical army in the world. They're the most precise.
That's complete bullshit.
I do know that Hamas would have their weapons depots under hospitals.
There's a reason that Hamas.
Yeah, Tommy, because you're kind of retarded. I'm gonna be honest with you. You just said that we're divided in the chat, then just said, oh, but we're not into division. Then why are you even trying to speak on division? Why are you even trying to put it out there if you're not into it? Like, bro, if I'm not into negativity, if I'm not into, I don't know, like, yeah, if I'm not into negativity or bad words or cursing, why would I put it out there? If you're not into division, then why are you trying to tell people that we're divided? Because you're trying to sow division. That's why you're putting it out there. Just like if I'm not angry, I'm not going to try to put anger out there. I'm not going to try to sow anger in other people. So you're not even matching up with what you're saying. You said you got to go. So you know what? I'm going to help you with that.
operates out of schools and hospitals.
With Israel being questioned now more than ever, I went to Washington, D.C. to investigate the claim of whether Israel is our greatest ally and looked in particular into the influence of AIPAC, the American Israel Public Affairs Committee, on our elected officials. And we also examined the war in Gaza, asking whether Israel truly lives up to its claim as the world's most ethical army, or whether we are witnessing serious human rights violations funded in part by our U.S. tax dollars. To look into this, I spoke with U.S. senators like Ron Johnson and Rand Paul, with IDF soldiers, a Jewish woman turned anti-Zionist, and one of the greatest conspiracy researchers of our era, Ian Carroll. I asked the questions that are scary to ask, and I do so as a proud American. Let's get to it. So this is one of the scariest pieces that we ever worked on. And it's crazy as a journalist that you have to be afraid to ask questions or investigate the truth. So let's just start off with some ballpark statements. I'm not anti-Semitic. I hope all Israelis and Jewish people around the world are happy, healthy, and thriving, as I do for other people as well. It's possible that I'm going to be called anti-Semitic from doing this video, and that's not true. I don't hate anybody. There's not one person in this world I hate, and you can't tell me I do. What is the point of having a platform if you're not going to do something that's absolutely necessary, which I believe this is? So what we're going to do is use very American principles, which is questioning the narrative, questioning our government, and questioning foreign governments. We're allowed to do that. People have died for that right, and people will continue to die to fight for that right. So this is to freedom of speech. This is to investigation. Now, folks, let's jump into the video. You got arrested right around here.
Well, inside in the Senate Foreign Affairs Committee chambers.
You're a lieutenant colonel.
Yeah.
Ex-Green Beret.
Yep.
Served this country.
25 years.
What was that like getting arrested?
It felt right.
This is Anthony Aguilar. He served as a U.S. Special Forces soldier for over 20 years, and after the horrific things he witnessed as a mercenary manning the...
Damn it, Link. Why do you want to make me cook you, bro? Why? Why, bro? Why you got to do that? All right. Not the set with the if we stop talking about racism, people will stop being racist. No, I never say that. I mean, no, it's if you stop talking about racism, racism will stop affecting you. Because whatever you tell yourself is always going to affect you in the end. I mean, if you tell yourself you ain't shit person, I mean, let's be real, you're gonna feel like ain't shit person, you're gonna do ain't shit things. So if I feel like racism is stopping me, then I'm gonna be real with you. I'm gonna look for every sensitive moment that I have with a person of a different race and call it racism. That's what I'm saying. So get the saying right before you say it. And well, honestly, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm pretty sure you don't even really know what I was getting at if you bastardize the saying like that. But good try.
Aid stations in Gaza, he has decided to come forth as a whistleblower, sounding the alarm for what he says are massive human rights violations. Here's what he had to say.
There are some members of our Congress in the Senate and the House that are compromised by a foreign government. I don't know what the compromise is, whether it's, pictures of them doing something embarrassing,
Honestly,
if it's money, if it's...
That should be a reflection moment for some of y'all of what I just said. I mean, let's be real. You want to be all TDS out, Trump, 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 Trump. Well, for every small thing that happens that you disagree with, you're always going to find a reason to blame Trump. Just like a black person who always hinges on racism is going to find for any little reason to blame racism. I mean, just like right now, I mean, you guys can't even get down with the logic of the fact that the Dems done shut down the government this time because they're the demanding party. Like, I get, we want $1.5 trillion in healthcare. Why? Why? Because we was taking care of, like, let's be real, more people with way less. And y'all don't even know that. Like, how about this? Why don't y'all look up how much we've been spending on Medicaid before y'all make such retarded arguments for Medicaid? And then before you let the Dems blindly lead you into government shutdown, why don't y'all call them out on the healthcare premium bullshit? When is the Obama healthcare subsidies in? Do you know, Dems? Oh, yeah, I bet you don't, because they told you it was going in 2 weeks, but it's really 2 months. So why are we arguing about it now? That would be a good question you need to ask yourself. But all right. No, I'm going to have to let, lastly, I'm going to let your video play out. My bad, brother.
promise of a few, like, hey, we back you for this next position. I don't know what it is.
Folks, the Israel-Palestine conflict stretches back generations, but for today's episode, we will be focusing on the past 2 years. Let's rewind back to October 7th, 2023, when Hamas executed what's widely regarded as the worst terrorist attack in Israeli history. A coordinated operation used rocket barrages, motorized armed paragliders, and foot soldiers that swept through Israel, killing approximately 1,200 Israelis and taking around 250 hostage. Similar to how Americans responded to 9/11, Israel reacted to the horrific carnage by mounting a full-scale military operation, with their main objectives being to rescue Israeli hostages, eliminate Hamas military and leadership, and prevent Hamas from ever again being able to threaten Israel. As of late, some people have begun questioning the Israeli official narrative of October 7th.
Was there a stand-down order?
According to IDF testimony from the Knesset, the legislative body of Israel, IDF soldiers claim they were told to stand down from patrol on the morning of the attack. Adding fuel to the controversy, Netanyahu's right-wing coalition voted against having a state-run inquiry into October 7th, despite polls reporting that roughly 70% of Israelis wanted one. That has helped spark conspiracy theories suggesting Israeli intelligence may have had prior knowledge of the attack. After all, Mossad is widely regarded as the best intelligence agency on the planet, and the level of surveillance they had over Gaza is incredible. Are there IDF soldiers that are purposely targeting civilians and just kind of...
That is true. One, there was a stand down order in a country where everybody, I mean, bro, like I said, almost everybody is served in the military. You'll see people walking around with M16. So how does something like that just pop off in Israel, especially when they have Mossad? We're talking about the guys who put off the pagers. We're talking about the guys who stole the nuke. It's like Mossad. How do they not see October 7th coming?
Willy-nilly shooting people.
So willy-nilly shooting, yes. The IDF utilize machine gun fire, shooting machine guns, shooting bullets at people to control the crowd.
An Israeli newspaper report saying that soldiers were ordered to shoot at unarmed civilians waiting for food aid in Gaza.
I experienced that with a young boy named Amir in distribution site number 3. And this young boy, without shoes, who had walked 10 to 12 kilometers, and when he came up and he got meager scraps from the ground, not a box of food, not a meal, he came and thanked us. He and others were killed. The Gaza Humanitarian Foundation has come forward with a press release last week where they showed, oh, this young boy that Mr. Aguilar said he saw on this date, we scoured the earth and we found him, and here he is. The boy that they featured in that is not the boy that I saw on the 28th of May.
So it's propaganda.
It is propaganda. They are lying.
Now, GHF, the organization running the aid station that Anthony worked with, came out with a statement refuting Anthony's testimony by poking holes in at least one aspect of his story. They say the kid that Anthony claimed had died
Oh no, this was disrespectful, bro. I mean, they really insulted people's intelligence. Yes, this kid, Anthony Arrillaga, the U.S. veteran, pretty much went out there doing his humanitarian service and all that, and well, security work. But the problem is that he saw this little kid die. And then Israeli media finds some little kid with lighter skin, different set of teeth, nose looked different, and said, oh, he lied. Oh, this is the kid right here alive. I was like, bro, do y'all really think people are this stupid? And then I'm seeing people go with it. I'm like, God damn it, people are this stupid. Oh, shit. Ah, Lord.
8-year-old boy named Abdul is actually alive and well, and they have video proof of it, and therefore we should believe none of Anthony's testimony.
Bro.
However, let's also share Anthony's side of the story. He would make the case.
And here's the worst part about it, though. It's just like, all right, first off, the kid got a full head of hair. Second off, if you actually looked at this picture closer, the kid had a missing tooth. This kid, full set of teeth, all that nice stuff. Eyebrows a bit different and all that crazy stuff, but he looks a bit close. But I'll be honest with you, there's no way, guys. There's just no way.
Believe none of Anthony's testimony. However, let's also share Anthony's side of the story. He would make the case that unfortunately the lead reporter investigating whether the kid was actually alive or not, Mohammed Salama, was killed in an airstrike by the IDF when the Nasser hospital was bombed live on camera multiple times. This horrific bombing of one of the last functioning hospitals in Gaza showed aid workers and journalists being killed. When asked about this, both our politicians and IDF soldier contacts maintained that the aid workers and journalists were Hamas. Here's the footage of the men who died in the airstrikes. Tell me in the comments if you think they are.
I mean, shoot, it's really easy to kill people when you can just pass it off on Hamas. I mean, if they could work for Al Jazeera, they could work for people who don't even align with Hamas. But hey, anybody they kill, that's not Hamas. That's somebody random citizen. They could say is Hamas. If they blow up a building, that's just some random house or just some random workplace. They could say that, well, Hamas built tunnels under there. So that's a green lit of destroying the whole city.
Are Hamas.
So my name is Doron Kedar. I'm a sergeant major in the Israeli Defense Forces, today in reserves.
This is Doron Kedar. He is an IDF veteran of 20 years, and he is currently serving as a special force.
Hold on, bro. You're dumb, okay? You're dumb. Did you hear what I just said? So basically 70 million, 40% are children, 60% are elderly who need Medicaid and Medicare to live is unnecessary, will probably die because it's been cut, right? Bro, you dumb? Do you understand how much we were spending on Medicaid? We were in the trillions in spending on Medicaid. We cut $930 billion over 10 years. So that's $93 billion a year. That's still $855 billion in Medicaid funding. And we're still spending too much on it. Yeah, you heard me, brother. We're still spending too much on it. So get this through your thick ass head. In 2019, $615 billion was dedicated towards Medicaid, and we use it for 71 million people. We got 1 million people less on Medicaid today, but somehow we need $1 trillion? $1 trillion. We needed pretty much double of what we needed about 5 years ago. Do you understand how retarded that sounds? Do you understand how much wasteful spending that is, especially when you want to bring in the fact of illegals and the fact that these pharmaceutical companies, healthcare companies charge us more because we got a big ass budget they can cut out of? There you go. So thank you for holding water for the corporate elites, the pharmaceutical corporates and the healthcare corporates. They owe you a check, my friend, and you should go ahead and collect on that.
Reservist. He is the host of the Doron Kedar podcast and a strong voice advocating for the Israeli perspective.
Mainstream media is been taken over by extremist groups from the far left, wokeism, Islamist groups, socialist groups, Marxist groups.
In my experience speaking with IDF soldiers and pro-Israeli politicians, there seems to be a common playbook when it comes to tackling any criticisms of Israel. In my conversations with these guys, I've been called an anti-Semite, a Jew hater, told I've been thinking like a Nazi, and even accused of bearing responsibility for the horrible attack.
No, that is effed up. It's like, bro, dude, just say you hate Jews. Dude, just say you hate Jews. It's fine, but just be open about it. It's like, bro, come on now. You know, if I say that, you're going to start bastardizing me. Like, that's hilarious.
Recently in Manchester, simply for asking questions that I think most of us have. But folks, I am a lover of all people, Israelis included, and these smears will not stop me from questioning what I see.
Most of what you see is either AI or footage used from Syria and or Iraq and or other countries.
What do you think the true number of dead civilians is?
That is probably looking more at maybe 20%, maybe 30%.
By war standards, it's still pretty darn high, right?
No, the opposite. What they will tell you is that Israel's ratio for civilian to combatant is actually much lower than the war in Afghanistan and Iraq. Basically, our ratio,
Honestly, I think it's like at 6 or 8 to 1. So yeah, so for every 6 to 8 civilians, 1 Hamas fighter is killed.
has been 1 combatant to maybe 2 civilians.
The case Dorn is making here is that the numbers out there that were allegedly leaked within Israel are actually false, and the civilian casualty rates are not so horrible, and that these numbers are
No, it's not. No, it's not, Link. It's not, bro. Come on, did you read the Big Beautiful Bill? $930 billion over the next 10 years. It's not 1.4 billion. They're literally trying to add 70 more, like 70 plus, 70 billion plus on top. Like, do you not understand that part? That's what I'm saying. And then, like I said, you can't defeat the point of that we were spending less on more people. Like, you can't even defeat that argument. So
fabricated by woke/Hamas influenced media. So we sat down with Dr. Aziz Rahman, a man in Milwaukee that actually volunteered at Nasser Hospital in Gaza for 2 weeks, and we hear what he saw boots on the ground.
Dr. Aziz Rahman, I practice here in Wisconsin. Yeah, I was in June 2025. I was in Gaza at Nasser Hospital, which is in Khan Yunis, which is in the south of Gaza. I probably saw thousands of patients. I probably treated hundreds of patients. I actually did surgeries myself on maybe 50 to 75 patients.
The IDF commanders we spoke to said they are the most ethical army in the world. They're the most precise, that the minimal amount of civilian casualties are being expended with them. What would you say to that?
That's complete bullshit.
This is Brendan from the organization Open Secrets. His group is a nonpartisan watchdog that tracks the money flowing through politics, and he helps me break down the numbers connected to AIPAC. What is AIPAC, and how do they function?
They make contributions to candidates. A traditional PAC they are able to make contributions directly to candidates. They collect money from their members or other people who are interested in their cause and support their policies, and then they deliver it to the candidates.
There are members of our Congress that are compromised. That is a fact. Those that are compromised because they get the backing of AIPAC and they get the backing of Israel, their voices are amplified. You can't fight against that propaganda machine. It's huge.
So there's this Israeli commando I've been talking to, and I've talked on the phone with before, and he was going to consider doing an interview, and then he said it's pointless. Everyone just turning into an empire of Nazis pushed by Nick Fuentes, Kanye West, Candace Owens, and more.
The first problem is that every American moron retard wants to talk about, and I even say this to people, it's always, oh, you're taking my tax money. Shut the f up, dude. You don't know where the f your tax money is. You wouldn't even know where your tax money is.
The disrespect.
You don't even read any of the bills. You sign all the bills, and then you want to pay more tax for gas. You want to do all this bullshit. But then when something big happens in the world, that's where my tax money is going. Shut the f up. Nobody knows where the f their tax money is going.
Ian Carroll is one of the internet's top conspiracy analysts. His critics label him an anti-Semite, spreading false information about Israel, but to others, he is a fearless journalist that speaks on what some perceive as an extremely strong Zionist pressure on our government. Here's what he had to say.
There are 100 U.S. senators. Last year, 93 out of 100 U.S. senators were people whose campaigns had been funded by Israel, AIPAC, and the Israel lobby. 93 out of 100 U.S. senators were taking money from a group that represents a foreign government and foreign interests in order to operate our government on behalf of someone else. And they all work here in this building.
This is Representative Ro Khanna from California, and he does not take AIPAC money according to the website Track AIPAC. Here's what he had to say.
It's too much. I mean, it's too much. All these super PACs and PACs are too much. I don't take a dime of PAC money, lobbyist money, since I've been in Congress. And
I mean, respect though.
Believe in super
you got to
PACs.
give it.
And so I can vote my conscience.
Actually, it's the two people who aren't bought out by AIPAC on the like, what was it? Thomas Massey on the right and then Rohana on the left. It's mainly the two guys who aren't really supported by AIPAC is the one who's trying to push for the Epstein list. I mean, go figure.
If you have people who have a particular point of view, in AIPAC's case, they're basically whatever Netanyahu does is right. That's their point of view. And they're saying,
and Sid, into that budget cut that I told you, I would only be mixing two different things, which would be Medicaid and CHIPS. Well, and CHIP. So yeah, you're wrong. There's not 12 different things. There's only two different things that was cut in that what $930 billion.
Okay, if you don't take that view, we may come after you.
There you go.
We may have millions of dollars spent against you.
Now, ask any American content creator what the scariest subject to cover is, and the answer is Israel. Even YouTubers I know who support Israel say their channels were shadow banned for months after covering them.
Yeah, that's what happens to me. I mean, I ain't gonna lie. Every time I kind of go hard on Israel, I mean, I go a little too hard. Yeah, they do start throttling my shorts, which isn't too bad. I mean, it's like a what? It's like a 1 week of YouTube jail, and then you're back to normal viewership. But I mean, shout out to the lives, because that's the only thing I really pushes through, being shadow banned for a little bit.
Folks, the plot around free speech thickens. News just broke that Larry Ellison, co-founder of Oracle, will be buying TikTok, a platform where young people can freely exchange unfiltered ideas. No Israel connection here, right? Wrong. Ellison is one of the IDF's largest private donors, giving the army tens of millions of dollars through Friends of the IDF, a nonprofit that brands itself as a non-political, non-military organization, but somehow also is the official U.S. partner of Israel's soldiers. Is it hard to trace who's getting money from AIPAC and how much?
It's pretty straightforward. You can tell, if their PAC makes a contribution to a candidate must report that and must report where it came from.
Can we see some of the numbers, like to what level AIPAC is funding our politicians?
AIPAC would fall under a what we call ideology single issue. So these are groups that are focused in on particular issues.
So this is the top contributors for 2023, 2024.
Yes.
So it's fair to say that actually the left was much more heavily funded across the board, and that if you break it down further to AIPAC, it was about 25 million to the Democrats and about 17 million to the Republicans.
And you might have been wondering, who are all these senators that are taking money from the Israel lobby? Well, if you wanted a list of all-timers, our boy Joe Biden would be at the very top with 4.2 million during his career. But you'd also find Hillary Clinton, 2.3 million. You'd find Kamala Harris, 2.3 million. You might think, oh, Trump's not on there. No, that's just because he was never a senator. So you'd have to go to a different webpage to find that number.
So would someone like Miriam Adelson appear on a list like this?
Yes.
I'm curious what her figures are, because I've seen that it reported allegedly that between 100 million and 200 million plus to Trump from the Adelson family.
She was in 2024. She was the number 3 donor, behind Musk and Mellon.
Miriam and Sheldon would come into the White House probably almost more than anybody.
The Adelsons are some of the wealthiest Jewish billionaires in the world. Now it is the Adelson, just Miriam. Her husband Sheldon died. They have a long, wealthy relationship with Donald Trump, a very long and wealthy relationship with Benjamin Netanyahu, as well as with anyone and everyone else that is associated with the Zionist project and Jewish causes.
This is Representative Nancy Mace of South Carolina, and according to Track AIPAC, she's taken about 130,000 from AIPAC-linked groups. Here's what she had to say. No, compared to your colleagues, you're minimal.
Am I low?
Yes,
Okay.
which is good. Do you think Americans have a right to fear that AIPAC is too powerful, and that some people would say that it feels like we're almost controlled by Israel?
No, we're not. And you can't buy votes, okay, when you're up here legislating. Yes, we have to run for re-election. Yes, we have to raise money to do that. I've never gotten pressured by AIPAC. I've never said, hey, you have to do this. And I've never.
Well, Nancy Mace, because you kind of stayed in line. You're not really one of those, I would say pro-Palestinian voices or anti-Israel voices. You're not. You're kind of following in line with everything. So I would ask her, you're one of the people who fall in line. Don't you kind of find it strange how those who don't fall in line kind of lose funding?
So it's not some
Like-
insidious meeting in a parking garage
No.
where a guy with
no.
an APAC hat comes
No,
to you.
would definitely not accept money from anyone threatening me. And that's just not a thing.
Mr. Johnson, Tom. Nice to meet you. Thanks for seeing us.
Rep Hank Johnson is my handle, by the way, at Rep Hank Johnson.
First guy to do the good plug, so check him out, guys.
Yeah, check it out.
This is Representative Hank Johnson from Georgia, and he does not take APAC money, according to the website Track APAC. Here's what he.
Hey, my brother. Hey, that's a real one. That's a real one right there. Yeah, shout out him. Shout out Cohen and the rest of them, but hey, shout out to him. I didn't even think we had it.
He had to say.
The APAC PAC is powerful. The money that they put into elections can be influential. So politicians.
And it is a bit strange how everybody who gets APAC money is like, no, Israel doesn't run our system. Nah. But then those who don't is like, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, they kind of do. It is pretty powerful. They do got a lot of money. So everybody who don't get it got something negative to say. Everybody who is getting it got all the positive things in the world. Oh man, ain't that telling?
Do pay attention to that.
Actually, yeah, I think she also owns some overseas casinos as well. But shout out to my man Vladstein. So doesn't Adel Adelson own half the casinos in Las Vegas? Yes, and as well, like I said, some overseas ones as well. So she's deep. She's deep in the casino industry. It is pretty crazy how you'll always find. No, I'm not gonna go that hard. I'm not gonna go that hard tonight. But yes, Marilyn Adelson is big in the casino industry. She's one of the people who gave Trump that $100 million check, and because not just in Las Vegas, but around the world. So shout out to Adelson. And shout out to my man Guest Dude. If there are only X options to vote for, it doesn't matter if we have the ability to vote. If Subway doesn't carry tomatoes, no tomatoes for you. I mean, hey man, ain't that the truth? If there's no option, all you got is what you got. And if both sides are corrupt, then it's just you're done. It's over.
Hey there.
Hello.
How are you?
Come on in. Good. How you doing?
Good. Nice to meet you. Tommy.
Tommy.
How are
Good
you?
to meet you, Medea.
Medea Benjamin is a Jewish woman who has been to Israel and once considered herself proud of Israel until her conscience forced her to stand against it. She's the leader of activist group Code Pink, and she's made it her mission to call out U.S. politicians for taking AIPAC money and enabling the destruction in Gaza. Here's what she had to say. Would it be your impression that many of our politicians are under Israeli influence?
That's such a mild way to put it. I mean, they are bought off by AIPAC, and that's not even the most important part. The most important part is they're scared to death of AIPAC. They're afraid that if they become the top, well, look at what they did to Cori Bush. Look at what they did to Jamal Bowman, and you can go back. Look what they did to Jewish Congressman Andy Levin, just because he said some mild things about Netanyahu. And so these members of Congress don't want to be in the crosshairs.
We've heard a few times now politicians mention Cori Bush and Jamal Bowman seemingly getting pushed out of office by AIPAC. Here's what Cori and Jamal had to say on the matter.
I got a message from someone in the community. AIPAC said to tell you that they know you're not going to change your stance. They just want you to be silent.
They are very strategic and very unapologetic.
Now at a certain point, it doesn't even come to winning you over no more. They're like, all right, look, we know we can't win you over with the BS propaganda, but you know what? I mean, yo, man, we can throw some dollars in your pocket. No, how's 130K sounds? You know, just for you to shut the hell up.
Break this down by highlighting Jamal's story. During his 2020 term, he was critical of Israel, calling what they were doing in Gaza a genocide and being one of the first politicians to demand a ceasefire. So when he ran for re-election in 2024, AIPAC-related PACs spent a record-setting $14 million to fund a challenger to unseat him. For comparison, his 2020 opponent spent under $2 million, meaning that AIPAC poured more than 8 times that amount to defeat him in 2024. It was the same story with Cori Bush when she also called the war in Gaza a genocide, and AIPAC ally spent $8 million against her,
Damn.
and she lost. So it seems AIPAC has real power to force out politicians they don't like.
No, and they like to say they don't, but I'm like, well, yeah, you do. When you put a exorbitant amount of money towards my enemy, towards my opponent, then yeah, you do have some power against me. And let's be real, it's like they're gonna primary them. It's like, all right, cool. I mean, if you're not gonna act right as a Dem, we're gonna find another Dem who's gonna act right, who's gonna shut the hell up. And that's what they do. We're going to primary them. We're going to run a whole bunch of bad ad campaigns against you. We're going to run the best ad campaign against with them, and they're going to beat you. Why? Because people are easy to control through propaganda, especially when you throw enough money into it. Tough. And shout out guest 2 said the question becomes, how far back have all of our elections been theater? I mean, shit. I ain't gonna lie. That's a really deep question. CIA, Bush block, Israel block, Walmart, Arkansas block, and now the Thiel block. Yes, the Peter Thiel block. The tech bros is taking over at a certain point. They are trying to take over with the AI. That's why I kind of be asking. I'm like, Monty, look, bro, if you was heading AI, I would love for it to happen. But we got some guys who are questionable with their intentions who might try to do us dirty with the whole AI thing. Like, we want to take scarcity out from, the world with AI, but they want to take us out from the world and keep scarcity with AI. Why? Because they make the most money doing so. So can we trust the good nature of these AI, guys? Can we? Do we know them like that, man? Do they pull up to Thanksgiving and the family dinner for us to even know anything about them? Of course not. So I don't know where the blind trust in them is, but it is what it is. And I'm not saying that my man Monty or me has blind trust in these guys, but some do.
And when it appears to be lose your job or listen to AIPAC, allegedly, it's easy to see why politicians fall in line.
And so they either put their head down or they're more even brazen to say, yes, I'll go with AIPAC on a trip to Israel this recess instead of being with my constituents.
Recently in the news, I've been bombarded by stories of U.S. politicians visiting Israel. I've even heard New York mayoral candidates tripping over themselves to say how often they visit or want to visit Israel.
That I would visit the Holy Land.
Because it most likely sounds like their biggest donor. Or it's the donor that influence that matter. I think everybody in politics has gotten down with the idea that, if I don't align with Israel, there's no way I'm gonna be able to, realize their dream of being a mayor, a president, a governor. So many people have dreams and aspirations, and they're willing to do whatever, even if it means compromising themselves to achieve it. And we need to take those people out. Like, I get you got a dream, bro, but if that means you got to throw the American people under the bus for your ambitions, then you don't need to be in that position. Especially since your position means that you're supposed to do what's best for the American people, not what's best for your donors. I mean, we would hope that'd be common sense in today's time, but it is not.
Go to Israel.
Yeah, I'd make my 4th trip to Israel.
These seemed a bit odd, and it made me wonder, are U.S. politicians visiting Israel an unusual amount? So we looked at the numbers. A 2024 study by the University of Maryland found that over 25% of all congressional trips were to Israel. And from 2011 to 2016, congressional members took 1,400 trips to Israel, which for comparison in the same time period, there were 88 to the UK and 154 trips to Japan, which are other countries that we also consider to be our greatest allies. And for Americans in the last couple of weeks questioning whether their politicians are controlled by Israel, the news of a 250-person delegation to Israel could not have been worse timing. So does this mean that AIPAC simply outplays every other lobby in Washington, D.C. and should be celebrated for being effective? Or are we looking at something far more dangerous, which would be a foreign influence shaping American policy from the inside?
Is it that bad? Yes, and it's bigger than AIPAC. A lot of times, there's a couple of arguments that get thrown around here to the uninformed. And one is that Israel is not even the biggest lobby. There's all these other nations that are bigger foreign lobbies than Israel. And it's because Israel is not a foreign lobby because they're not registered. Every other nation has to register their foreign lobby as a foreign lobbying group. And that's how it should be, because that way we have much higher standards for disclosure of where the money's coming from.
That, and yeah, we know people's intentions. It's like, okay, you're speaking like this because you get money from the Qatar lobby, Lebanon lobby, UK lobby. Don't matter which lobby. When they're under the FARA Act, there's that openness to them. That's why a lot of these guys who get paid by some of these foreign lobbies it's not really out there championing it, because it's like, yeah, anything you say that's positive against, I don't know, let's say Qatar, it's going to look pretty weird if you're out here trying to speak a little bit too good of Qatar and saying, you know what, guy, maybe we should just have, Qatari Muslims pull up here and, settle here somewhere. or let's say they got a Somalian lobby, and if that, I mean, God forbid, forbid they do, because I'm gonna be real with you, if they did, it explains how Minnesota got the way it did. But yeah, it is a bit strange how Israel can get away with having a lobby with all this influence and then be able to hide in obscurity because you can't really track them like that. And now we can. I mean, back in the day, there was no APAC tracker. Really, APAC tracker is relatively new, like probably like 2 years old. So thank God we got it now. But back in the day, there really was no way of telling who was getting APAC money.
If you're registered for it.
No, honestly, unless you want to go to the website, do the investigative research, start going down the list. I mean, but who's doing all that?
Agent.
Well, besides me.
And you can actually look into the history of when AIPAC decided not to register. And it was right when John F. Kennedy got shot in the head.
Oh, shoot.
And you can actually go and read the original letters themselves of Kennedy's administration messaging. At the time, it was called the World Zionist.
Hey, yo, and shout out to Weaponized Autism. Hey, that's so crazy. I literally was, I don't know why, I was posting stuff on TikTok because I'm on TikTok as well, but it was like a short about weaponizing autism and all that good stuff about how girls secretly like the what was it, because I don't really care about the whole girls part, but they said there's like a hidden genius in autism and that girls secretly like autistic dudes because they're, well, I would say spontaneous. You never know what's really going to come out of their mouth. And to be quite honest, I mean, I find them entertaining for that reason too.
It's Congress.
Good people.
And they're saying, you got to register, you're a foreign agent, here's it. And they send the paperwork. And they sent the paperwork over the month before JFK got shot.
Why is it not registered as a foreign entity?
The rules have been made easier for countries like that we consider to be allies. There are also a lot of people that are dual citizenship. So people think of Israel in a different way. There are a lot of American citizens who are also Israeli citizens.
So they're American citizens. So, I mean, if you're an American citizen and you're articulating a point of view, that's your right. So I'm not of the view that these people are not American citizens. They're doing everything legally. They're American citizens. They're lobbying for their interests. They're lobbying for the Netanyahu government's interest because they think that's what benefits America, and they're paying millions of dollars, which under Citizens United is legal. The problem is why we have a political system that has that being legal, and why don't we have more people with the courage to say, I don't care, because if the people are on my side, it's not going to matter.
I mean, let's be honest. I mean, look, if it wasn't for the AIPAC lobbying and the lobbying that they're doing right now, I'm gonna be honest, we probably wouldn't have went into a couple of wars. There's a couple of wars we could have avoided, but not tying our, well, I would say this, not tying ourselves to Israel. Because once we tied ourselves geopolitically to Israel, that kind of starts screwing us over. I mean, did you read Saddam Hussein's message to America? It was literally, bro, he was literally getting mad at us for almost everything that Israel got us into with Somalia, like, bro, what else? Palestine, of course, and other Arab countries that he was mad about. So we can't sit here and pretend like, you know, maybe if we weren't effing with these guys or messing with them on such a high level, maybe we'd have, I don't know, had some peace in the Middle East, maybe, possibly. Who knows?
Can you guess where this is?
It looks like the Middle East, but no.
Gaza.
Gaza. Wow.
Pretty bombed to oblivion.
Yeah, it's very sad.
What's your reaction to seeing those photos?
Horrific. We were complicit. We gave Netanyahu a blank check. Look, the Hamas terrorist attack was awful. And I said that people who committed those crimes had to be brought to justice and the hostages had to be released. But that happened months in. Netanyahu has been bombing for 2 years. Over 60,000 people killed.
Reports out there estimate that anywhere between 70 to 95% of all housing stock in Gaza is damaged or destroyed. Listen to this take from Norman Finkelstein, a Jewish scholar whose mother and father both endured the horrors of the Holocaust.
95% of Gaza's housing is gone. Yeah. It was estimated that it would take until the year 2050 to just clear out the rubble.
I talked to an IDF commando, and if you look at the IDF position on the war, they are the most precise army in the world, and they are very fair in how they strike. In researching this story, I spoke with U.S. Navy SEALs, a Canadian soldier, and others who have served overseas. Many of them supported the IDF's claim that Israel is actually taking extra precautions to limit civilian deaths by risking their own men's life to go door to door to warn Palestinians before bombing their homes. By contrast, in war...
All right, now, and let me tell you about this whole leaflet thing, because you know what? I was believing it too, and then I found out the reality of it is that, you know, these guys will give you guys leaflets, and they'll say, look, guys, we're about to bomb this building. Now go to this area to not get bombed. And now here's the effed up part. Either one, Israel won't bomb that building when they said they were, and everybody just got out for no reason. Now they're not really believing him. Or two, these guys leave, go to that spot that Israel's told them to go to, and they bomb that area. So they're kind of in this like kerfuffle of, do I move or do I go to the area that they might bomb? Or do I get out of there and that area is safe and they actually do bomb this? It's like they're dealing with like 3 different scenarios when they get these pamphlets. Like, is Israel going to keep their word and bomb it? Or are they going to leave this building alive and I'm going to take my ass to where they want me to go and they're going to bomb that? Like, what's going on? And that is the whole, well, I'm going to be real with you, problems with dropping the leaflets.
Iraq in 2004.
And yes, we all know, bro, come on now. We all know IDF ain't knocking on doors like, all right, man, bomb incoming, man. Get on up out of here.
My sources say that civilian homes were often hit without warning. And it's worth noting that in the Battle of Fallujah, for example, the deadliest battle in the Iraq War, there was also an estimated 80% civilian casualty rate. And one theory I'm entertaining is that the casualty numbers we are seeing in Gaza aren't unprecedented, but rather is actually typical of urban warfare in densely populated areas, as several IDF soldiers have pointed out to me. The difference today is visibility, that this is the first major urban conflict where smartphone footage is uploaded daily. And if Iraq, Afghanistan, or Vietnam had been broadcast this way, I think the public outrage would have been just as strong. So to me, this suggests that the backlash on Israel isn't necessarily an anti-Semitic double standard, but rather, unfortunately for them, that this is the first time that the world is witnessing the brutality of war in real time on their phones.
To be honest, if they just kept it to going after Hamas, it wouldn't have been so bad. When you're recklessly bombing an entire area, not really giving a damn about who y'all hit, and then when you do hit them and they're civilians, you call them Hamas. I mean, what do you think is going to happen? Like, if you guys are out there trying to go after Hamas only the best way they can, then yeah, there really is no spinning this. But when we're obviously seeing children get put under rubble and all that crazy stuff, and people getting shot in the nuts and kids getting shot in the nuts for just playing, well, sorry, but you're kind of losing that argument right there. Of that, oh, this is just a bad time in history where people can actually see what's going on in the war. I mean, no, this is a good time in history when people can, well, see what a genocide looks like.
First of all, they use 2,000-pound bombs. You can't be precise when you're using 2,000-pound bombs. Gaza is densely packed. This is just bombing of a city.
Even in this first picture, what I would call the good days, where there's still buildings standing.
Let's just start with one of the reports that's come out in the last few months with 83% civilian casualty rates. What would you say? Are those numbers accurate?
Yep, 8-1.
They're not accurate, and I'll tell you why. The United Nations gets their numbers from the Gaza Health Ministry. Who runs the Gaza Health Ministry?
And the Gaza Health Ministry has a good record of being right about casualties. They've had a great record. And here's the thing. I mean, we can't go to the people who are bombing. Like, they tell us a number, we want to call it a lie. Like, that's the effed up part. But in the future, I mean, we were believing them every single time. But like I said, this war comes around. We can't trust these people to count their own death because we think they're going to inflate the numbers. Here's the thing. Why would they? Why would they want to inflate the numbers? And let's be real. Once the fog of war lifted, they would be exposed as liars anyway. Like, that had just been that. Man, I don't think they would throw the reputation away like that. I mean, I haven't heard of no organization doing that. But hey, they would be the first to do it if so.
Hamas.
If I was an infantry company commander and I had 4 infantry platoons, I was moving into an area to conduct a combat operation where I knew there was enemy. And at the end of it, I killed the enemy, but 83% of the population was dead. I would be tried and sent to Leavenworth for war crimes.
If you're branding yourself as the most precise army in the world,
like, yeah, if I was saying, oh man, it's like what Dave Smith said. I mean, bro, let's pretend like a school shooter went inside your kid's school, right? And they told the cops, yo, get that school shooter out of there no matter what. Like, bro, get him out of there. And they decide just to bomb the entire school with your kid in it. And they said, well, we got him. And, what can I say? The school shooter was using them as human shields. So we had to do what we had to do. Bruh. I don't think a lot of us would be taking that. A lot of us would really sit there and be like, yeah, I don't think I can take that. That whole conversation is dead.
I think those numbers say another story.
It's awful, but we need peace in Gaza. And I don't know how you get peace in Gaza without taking out Hamas.
the food they're eating is not nutritious food. It's aid food. Some of the food has fungus in it and has worms in it. Now they're airdropping these food pallets, which 3 airships equals 1 truck. It's all show. Sometimes the pallets actually drop on people's tents and kill them.
Oh,
so the Gazans have to go through a place where no human can go. Okay.
Oh, crushed by aid is okay. Yeah, that's it. Crushed by aid is crazy.
Okay, where the Israelis have,
No, let me not make
top-notch surveillance, tanks, drones, soldiers, and APCs with machine guns. They have to walk through these corridors that kind of cordon them off like cattle to the aid point. Now you have American mercenaries with machine guns and grenades and tear gas and whatnot watching them. For every, like, for example, 10,000 people, there's only 1,000 pallets of food. So there's this fight to see who can get the food first. And then they have to get corralled through this exit, which is like just like cattle, right? Exit on the way back out, and on the way back out, the Israelis and the Americans shoot over their heads to corral them out quicker.
Americans are shooting too?
Yeah.
The Hamas has taken that money. We know that for 50 to 60% of every dime that's gone to humanitarian aid in Gaza has gotten into the hands of Hamas.
So yeah,
bro, I've looked that up, bro. All ways to hell, man. I'm talking about, I looked that up every way. I'm talking about UN and everybody. And they're telling me that, no, actually, it's only been confirmed that Hamas has only been stealing like what, less than 1% of the aid. Most of the aid is being taken by Palestinians who can no longer wait, who's have been waiting there for days, damn near for weeks for food to come in, and they just storm the trucks. And then there's also the force, and I've covered this before, that there is a force inside Palestine that's also fighting Hamas. And they've also been caught stealing aid out of the food, stealing aid trucks or stealing aid out of these trucks. So, bro, here's a crying reality of it. There is literally no proof that Hamas is stealing 96% of the aid. None at all. They're just saying it. Point blank.
Starvation is absolutely real. Last week, they even went to a point further than starvation called famine, worst food hunger you can get into. We saw 2 babies in the neonatal ICU, Zainab and Hassan. Yeah, they were at the end stage of their life. We were requesting baby formula to be brought in. We actually told the doctors who were coming in next to bring in baby formula, and it got confiscated at the Israeli borders. I myself, just being there for 2 weeks, I lost 12 pounds.
Who says we're going to starve the people so much that they suffer that we're going to force the surrender? It's sick. And your tax dollars, my tax dollars are funding them because both Biden and
it's literally a collective punishment. They're like, okay, cool. And this is really what the Israelis wanted. They wanted to put so much suffering upon the Palestinian people that they were going to get a regime change. It's like the light version of what they try to do with Iran. I mean, all right, cool. Let's bomb a couple nuclear places. Let's put the weight of the world on you. And let's see if your people will turn against you. Well, they didn't. They ended up being more against Israel than ever. And that's what happened with Iran. So the people of Palestine is getting the same treatment, except guess what? I mean, Israel can go ahead and put all the propaganda they want on the Palestinians and people are going to believe it. So here's the main, the main thing that kind of turns my stomach is that they carry out all these atrocities on the Palestinians. And then we're going to pretend like we solved the problem with what? The peace deal. Unless we let these guys govern themselves and we give them a way to do that, there will never be peace in the Middle East and it will just pop off again. But if we can, then we might have finally squashed the situation. But let's see where this all goes.
Trump gave Netanyahu a blank check.
Israel could not give them humanitarian aid. Israel could choose not to provide humanitarian aid to the Gazans. Did you know that that the United States did not provide humanitarian aid in Afghanistan or Iraq?
How many kids did you come across with bullet holes or bomb residue?
Yeah. So again, I don't know the exact number. For every 100 patients, I would say 10 to 15 were kids, 10 to 15 were women, and then you have 10 to 15 elderly / handicapped, and then the rest men. Almost in the very young men, just past 18 years old, who are just the strongest person in their family, and they were tasked to go get the food, the aid at these GHF sites, the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, and they're supposed to walk kilometers in the heat with their sandals or they're barefoot. And they're the ones who are supposed to go get it, and they're shot.
Take a look at the writing in blue.
Wow. Highest number of child amputees worldwide. I mean, it's just sickening that we're doing this to kids. What crime did they commit? These are crimes, and there needs to be accountability.
I mean, the sick justification is that they're all Hamas, even though Hamas was elected by the older generation. I mean, what, you think the kids took a ballot and voted for Hamas themselves? I mean, it's a very sick rationalization of just saying, oh, well, they all voted for Hamas. Majority of them did, so they all deserve collective punishment. I mean, man, when we start sponsoring war crimes.
Ability.
One thing that really stood out to me was the Nasser Hospital, which, according to many reports, is one of the last functioning hospitals in Gaza. And there was a doctor from my hometown that served there as an American. And after he got back, shortly after, it got bombed twice.
Double tapped, some people say triple tapped. On live TV, they killed the rescuers and bombed them. The very stairs that I walk, the very people I work with, medical students, journalists. It's a war crime on TV, but kind of the news cycle's over and we're past that.
It's not a war crime because the aid workers that were posing as aid workers that were Hamas, we had journalists that are Hamas, but they're posing as journalists. And when Israel finally took them out, and knowingly that the optics is not going to look good, but we can't keep letting them use the disguise in order to continue the war.
Bro, that's wild as hell to say. Like, you don't even know where that sounds kind of strange. Like, oh, so you mean the press guys? Yeah, we can frame them secretly Hamas if they're reporting in favor of the Palestinians. And let's be real. Like, this kind of kills me because if those press people were still alive, we'd be able to get interviews from maybe like guys who are on the ground that are Hamas, Palestinians that are on the ground, and we'd be able to hear them out and hear their side. Israel's completely shut off the other side by bombing them, by killing them. But then this guy's literally gonna sit here and say, well, they're Hamas. And like, bro, do you not see where this is a silencing campaign? Like, really? And they just like let you walk off the cliff with Hamas. That's all they had to tell you, yo ass. You just believed it. Crazy. But then again, I mean, once you look at all that, you got the star, you got a little Star of David in the back, you got the Israeli flag in the back, so it does make sense.
Against Israel, and then what happens is then you get that reporting on most of the mainstream media that will jump on the story without looking deeply into the facts on the ground and discovering, oh, that guy was a Hamas person.
IDF soldiers often call themselves part of the most ethical army in the world. But would the most ethical army be linked to killing over 240 journalists? According to the UN Human Rights Office, 242...
I mean, would the most ethical army in the world be, well, let's be real. Their origination came from 3 terrorist groups. Yes, the IDF was pulled together by 3 different Israeli terrorist groups or Jewish terrorist groups. Pulled together, formed the IDF. So basically, we're looking at a former terrorist group.
Journalists have been killed in Gaza, making this the deadliest war for journalists to cover in history.
Well, reformed terrorist group turned military force. I'll be fair.
History. The most common defense I hear from IDF soldiers is the journalists were Hamas.
I do know that Hamas would have their weapons depots under hospitals. They put citizens at risk.
Let me ask you about this.
Let's just establish some reality, okay?
Bro, I mean, come on, bro. You just can't say let's establish some reality. Hamas is putting, I mean, bro, prove it. Y'all gonna have to prove this to me. Y'all destroyed 70% of Gaza. Show me the tunnel system that runs through all 70% of Gaza, because y'all destroyed houses, hospitals, schools, like power grids, all that good stuff. Show me, bro. Make me a believer, please. Because there's no way you're going to sit here and tell me that they ran a tunnel. This like small military group, small little terrorist group ran tunnels through 80% of Gaza. Well, my bad, 70% to the point you had to bomb it all, regardless of what building was there. Now, y'all got to show me it. Y'all got to show me it. Send a drone in there. Give me a tour. Give me a virtual drone tour of this expansive tunnel system. If not, I call BS.
I don't want to get steamrolled again. Let's if you were in a restaurant with your entire
I'm not steamrolling you.
A little bit. If you were in a restaurant with your entire family and there was one terrorist in there, would it be acceptable for anyone to bomb that restaurant to kill the terrorist if they also killed your innocent family? Is that ever an acceptable answer?
So war is hell, which is why you want to avoid it. Okay. The only way you end war is you have to defeat the enemy.
To say that they're using civilian grounds, I think is an excuse to invade these areas, to bomb these areas, to level these areas, to get rid of the buildings, to eventually have their plan of
bro, because they're gonna have, bro. And here's the thing: I wonder if anybody in the pro-Israel side will hold them accountable. Like, all right, cool, now that you're done bombing Gaza and everything is settled, can you back up that evidence of all these tunnels that Hamas was using? Like, please. Please back that up, because you bombed hospitals, schools, homes over this. You're going to have to back that up all the way through, so there's no doubt in nobody's mind that you did this under that circumstance. It's like, oh, because if there's no proof, y'all just want to go off into the sunset with it, there's always going to be criticism towards Israel. Always. Man. And shout out to my man guest who says at NX at G at Z at G at Z at and one real can't beat and the one can't touch it. Wait, in God's name? Hold on. Oh, NX Gaza. Whoops. Sorry, brother. Sorry, guest dude. I was being slow. That's how bad the censorship is. Annex Gaza so Israel can't touch it. I mean, shoot, I say, I would say this: make it. I mean, recognize Gaza as a state, then give it the same military protection we give Israel, and Israel can't touch it. Or, I mean, for all you know, because you heard about the Muslim NATO that's going around, where Pakistan is teaming up with Saudi Arabia to give them some type of security from Israel. And you remember, Pakistan is one of the few Muslim countries. I think it's like the only one. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they're like the only one that has nukes. No, I think there's other countries for sure, other Muslim countries for sure, but they're the biggest country, a Muslim country that has nukes. So what if these guys get under this Muslim NATO and we're talking about Gaza, the Palestinians, and now they have that protection? Because you know what? I'm actually in agreement with the Muslims on this one. Like, yeah, y'all probably do need your own NATO because, yeah, you let us do everything and we're going to steamroll you guys. Obviously, like, look what we're doing now. So it is what it is. And he said, geez, I know, my bad, guys, my bad. But that's how bad the censorship is. It really is. I mean, the fact that you had to say it like that is crazy.
In settlement and eradication of the Palestinian people.
Do you think Benjamin Netanyahu is guilty of war crimes?
I think that there's definitely been war crimes committed in Gaza, and that he's the prime minister. But again, the legal determinations the International Court of Justice is going to do, and there should be a court and there should be a process.
Every other home in Gaza has like stuff like this. This was gift wrapped in a house in Gaza. We found like hundreds of these. And this is like Hamas terrorist, right? T-shirt. Mm-hmm. Okay. This is like what the kids wear for their summer camps in Gaza, right? Wow. And this is recruiting. Yeah. Their summer camp is recruiting for terrorism. Every home had an affiliation for one of the terrorist groups. Who's the masterminds behind all these groups? This right here, the Muslim Brotherhood.
It's easy to label Hamas as terrorists, and they've undoubtedly committed terroristic acts. But let's ask ourselves honestly, what makes a man grow up to hate another country? Because I don't think the Taliban despise Americans.
Oh, that's easy. I always laid out the whole situation of, I mean, like, bro, can you imagine if, I don't know, these relates, like, let's say this, you're in America and there's this radical group of people in your city that's always been talking about this group of people, and the next city is going like, look, bro, they hate y'all, they want to take from you guys, they want to kill us and all this wild stuff, they want to soil our religion, all this wild stuff. You're hearing them, you're just like, bro, you're being radical, like, chill. Now, one day, the people that this guy was warning you about just comes over and completely decimates your city. I mean, decimated it, dropped the bomb, nuke, whatever. Just decimated your city. Killed your family and friends. Thank God you're alive, though. And that same guy, the same group of people that you were just sitting there ignoring, you're like, you know what? Maybe they was cooking. Maybe I want to join their side. Like, let's be real. I honestly think that's a lot. That's really how Hamas stayed with their numbers. They started out 25,000. Somehow they still are 25,000. And I believe that's so because, well, due to Israel's reckless bombing of Gaza, they've turned more people into Hamas. They've radicalized even more people because Hamas was those guys who run around going like, you can't trust the Israelis. They want to do this, that, and the third. And then the Israelis want to prove them right tenfold.
Simply because we had freedom, but rather because we bombed and occupied their homeland for decades. After all, a freedom fighter only exists when someone feels they have no freedom. And when you look at the reality that Palestinians have faced for several decades, blockades, military.
Yeah, literally an open air concentration camp. They're not allowed to leave without Israeli permission. I mean, yeah, they can't catch a flight out of Gaza to go to another country. They'll be blocked. A lot of people don't know that part, that Gaza controls who goes into Gaza and who comes out. I mean, Israel controls who goes into Gaza and who comes out of it. A lot of people don't know that part. So when people say, oh, we left Gaza in 2005, no, you didn't. You own their infrastructure. You own the air over there. That's why you're able to fly your drones and surveil Gaza. Does that sound like a sovereign place? If a foreign country is able to just go over here and just surveil your airspace? Oh, because it's owned by Israel. And so the infrastructure with water, electricity, and gas. So please tell me, how did Israel remove themselves? Does that sound like they removed themselves from Gaza? Like, let's be real.
freedom. And when you look at the reality that Palestinians have faced for several decades, blockades, military checkpoints, homes demolished, or
I mean, man, bro, it's like me saying I separated from my parents, but all my bills is in my parents' name and they even pay the rent. Like, did I really separate from my parents? Like, come on now. But shout out to my man Hellbat. He says, for instance, why does the left hate the right so much? Here's a hint. Cotton fields. Okay, I know you had to censor yourself on that one. You was praying I caught that. Cotton fields is crazy. Oh boy.
Taken by Israeli settlers, electricity and water being cut off, and entire generations growing up under occupation, is it really surprising that resistance movements would form? And furthermore, one could argue Israel indirectly propped up Hamas to encourage division in the country and prevent the more reasonable and democratic people.
They did.
PLO from uniting the
PLO. So let me tell you how he did it, because if you watched the BB files with me maybe a week ago, you would know how they kind of finessed this one. So BB took, I believe it was $83 million in total, and asked Qatar to fund Hamas. And Qatar they have BB's handwriting because they knew BB was going to lie about it. But for some reason, nobody ever believes what these guys have to say about BB, even if BB put his handwriting on it. But yes, BB has funded millions of dollars. He sent the money to Qatar for Qatar to send to Hamas, then blames Qatar for funding Hamas. Like, bro. Oh, shit. Bro, what? So yes, pretty much he steered the people towards the Hamas instead of the PLO, the Palestinian local authorities, or however, the Palestinian authorities. And they said, and he pretty much got the more radical group elected. He funded the more radical group. So you almost could say, I don't know, it's like, did BB possibly plan October 7th? Could this be Israel's 9/11? Like, I mean, these are all good questions.
Palestinians. Now, this does not in any way excuse the innocent Israelis dying in the horrific October 7th attacks, but as an American who regrets what my country did in the Middle East since 2001, I do think this context is important to consider. You got to spend some time with IDF soldiers.
I did.
Did you feel they conducted themselves professionally, or did you feel like they had a callous attitude towards killing?
I felt they had a very, I would call it an inhumane approach to killing. When I first got into Gaza on the 24th of May, I was at site number 1, and an IDF infantry squad was moving past the area. He was like, hey, and he spoke in a Boston accent. I was like, oh, you're Israeli? And he was like, oh, I'm from Boston. I'm here serving in the IDF. An American serving in the IDF. And he was like, oh, you're part of the new American food thing? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, why are you feeding our enemies?
Damn.
And I was like, well, I think we're here to prevent Hamas from getting the food. He was like, everybody here's our enemy.
What Anthony is pointing out is a little unsettling. There are Americans.
I mean, bro, people have that idea in America. It's like, bro, all the Palestinians are our enemy. No, none of them should be left alive. All of them should be kicked out. It's like, yeah, doesn't surprise me because we have people who think like that here. Like, shoot, in the chat, out on the street, in politics, obviously in politics. I mean, especially on the right.
Not dual citizens who go to Israel to serve in the IDF. I've personally spoken with 3 of them. And folks, to be precise, these guys are not acting as paid mercenaries. They are enlisting as soldiers in the IDF. Now, I can understand a Jewish American having a profound emotional tie to Israel, a nation central to their heritage, faith, and identity. But let's flip the perspective. Imagine Americans taking leave from their jobs in Boston or California, traveling to China to become Chinese soldiers and fight under the Chinese flag for a few weeks, then returning home to resume their American lives. Would that strike you as odd? To me, it raises serious questions. Like, if these Americans are willing to fight for Israel, but not in the United States military.
I mean, shit, we have some Americans willing to fight for Ukraine.
Where does their loyalty truly lie?
Because a lot of people are saying we're committing genocide, right? Fact check. Look at the population growth in Gaza since 2023, October 7th, and you'll actually see that the percentile of the population growth has grown.
That sounds almost unbelievable to hear, given the numbers that are coming out of the conflict, that it's not people dying there, it's actually the population's growing and flourishing. While 1.9 million people are displaced, there's near famine and starvation conditions. That's where it feels like we're getting propaganda. That's impossible.
That's right. You're getting propaganda. So these are facts I'm giving you, right? It doesn't mean people aren't dying.
In fact, now they're creating these humanitarian.
That is wild. All right, think about it like this. You know, it's almost like they're saying, all right, look, man, about 63,000 Palestinians died. But guess what? At the same time, about maybe like 100,000 of them got birthed the next day. So it's all good. I mean, that's positive, right? I mean, shoot, we can kill 100K, and as long as, I don't know, 150K get birthed, we're good, right? It doesn't matter how much we kill, as long as they can replace each other, replace themselves in the same number. So who cares how much Palestinians you killed? They'll just recreate themselves, right? It's all good though, right, guys? Like, we could all get down with that. Because I can't. I'll be real with you, I can't.
Cities, corridors, which are basically concentration camps. And they want to eventually get everyone from the north of Gaza down south to Rafah into these camps where they can come in, but they cannot leave unless they voluntarily emigrate to a different country.
And by the way, a refugee camp was just recently bombed as well.
Yeah.
When you look at that in terms of, okay, what is a concentration camp? Well, when you take a population away from where they live, and you take the population away from where they live in the whole country, and you concentrate the entire population into one area, onto one camp, that is a concentration camp.
How much are you risking right now by coming out and speaking about this?
Everything. My reputation, my health, my safety, my future, everything that I worked for 25 years in uniform, to the reputation that I built in terms of being a patriot.
Why do you think the world is allowing this to happen?
Complacency.
I'm not saying Israel hasn't made any mistakes, okay? Because that's the other thing that people don't understand. In
More
warfare,
journalists have died covering Israel, covering this war, than in any modern conflict.
Has your feed been flooded by videos? A girl carrying a bucket, bomb, hospital, bomb, aid station, hit by an IDF truck, all those kind of things.
Yeah.
When we ask people on the Israeli IDF side, they say that's Hollywood, that's fake.
Well, this is wrong. I mean, I'm not going to defend every single video because then they're going to put up one video that actually was fake.
Pallywood, it's a funny concept, and it's very creative. But I was there for 2 weeks, and hundreds of other physicians, surgeons, pediatricians, nurses, healthcare workers, aid workers from the West, from America, from the UK, from Australia, from Germany were there. And to say we are all liars and it's all Pallywood and we are part of that Pallywood is just obscene.
All of the IDF soldiers I spoke to brought up the claim of what they called Gazawood or Pollywood, or in other words, there being a lot of fake, staged, or AI videos used to turn people against Israel. Here are some of those clips.
And shout out to my man Guest Dude. He says, "Hey, workers in Palestine caught faking humanitarian crisis video. Wild. But shout out to my man Guest Dude. He says that would make Gaza the only place on earth with a positive growth rate. I call BS, bro. Literally, I call BS too. Only place on earth with a positive growth rate like that, where you can kill like 63,000 people and just within 2 years and still say, okay, yeah, we're still seeing positive growth. I mean, they're even growing by the hundreds of thousands. I'm like, bro, why y'all starving them and all that? Yeah, I call BS. I'm sorry. No.
And after seeing some of these videos, I do agree something feels staged or off. However, most would argue, as with any war, propaganda is used by both sides, and this still does not negate the hundreds of real and horrible videos we've all seen circulating our feeds where refugee camps and children are getting blown up, entire cities appear to be bombed out, and the countless other examples of humanitarian carnage.
Iran backed Hamas terrorists have been holding civilians hostage for 706 days.
So this is really the crux of the conflict right now, according to the official U.S.-Israel narrative, is until everyone here is released, we will not stop, which I think is fair. If my people are somewhere else and they're being tortured or whatever it is, you want them back. There's no question about it.
I mean, these people were innocent. They were at mostly a music festival. The part of this conversation that gets left out so often is that on day one, Hamas offered to free all the hostages. The only request was that Israel does not enter Gaza.
These people
Tragic
matter.
Story.
If you are on the Palestinian side of this conflict and you can't say that these people matter, you have lost your touch. You've lost the narrative as well.
I saw reports that there's testimony given by IDF soldiers. They were instructed to stand down between 5 a.m. and 9 a.m. on October 7th. Is there any truth to that?
No. There were some troops that were asked to stand down. My unit, for example, was asked to stand down and not to participate in rushing to the scene, and there's tactical reasons for that. The concern was that we would have an attack from the north by Hezbollah.
Oh, Honcho, what's wrong with you, dog? Do you hear yourself? Like, hold on. We're talking about Palestinian kids, and you want to make this about yourself, about black people? Like, no, that's the most narcissistic shit I've ever seen. We're talking about dead Palestinian children. Well, what about black people? What about black inventors? So you guys need to praise them more. Why am I hearing more about kids? I want to hear about black inventors. Bitch, go start your own channel. Like, bruh, what's wrong with you? Like, bruh. I can't believe some niggas. Excuse my language.
And or in Judea, Samaria. And if we sent all the forces and all the units to Gaza to thwart off the attack that was happening there, we wouldn't have any forces or units to send as a response to the north or to the West Bank in uprisings there.
And folks, the fact is, conspiracy or not, October 7th attacks left over 1,000 innocent Israelis dead. And that bloodshed continues to fuel Israel's campaign to root Hamas out of Gaza. What's the solution with Palestine? You want to propose a Palestinian state. What does that mean for Palestine? And what does that mean for Israel feeling protected that another October 7th isn't going to happen again?
Well, that should be the policy. No October 7th again. That and not militarily eliminate Hamas, which is where Netanyahu's policy is. It means Israel is a secured state, Jewish homeland, democratic state for the Israeli people. Palestine, no Hamas, democratic elections, demilitarized, is a Palestinian state with the help of Jordan and Egypt and other Arab countries, Saudi Arabia.
Ancho, I'm gonna give you one more chance to make sense, okay, brother? I'm gonna give you one more chance. What in God's name does Black history and slavery have to do with the topic at hand? I'm gonna give you one more chance and not sound like a dumbass. One more, just one more.
Arabia to help make sure that it is secure, that it isn't overtaken at all by terrorists or Hamas, and that it will not threaten Israel. And it recognizes Israel's right to exist as a Jewish homeland. And people say that's hard. Yes, it's hard, but we have to work towards peace. There's no other alternative.
Was there another American political commentator recently speaking on podcasts about the disruption and dissent against Netanyahu before October 7th?
Yeah.
Who was that?
Charlie Kirk.
Yeah, there's many young men in America that are actually questioning and I think have decent reason.
Now, there were text messages that came out that Charlie Kirk was about to leave the pro-Israel argument. I mean, shout out to Candace Owens, because I'm be real with you. That's why I posted that a Candace Owens apology form. If you go on my post tab on my main page, you'll see I posted a Candace Owens apology form because, hey, y'all need to start serving Candace some apologies, okay? She was right. She was right. Even I was like, bro, where's she getting this from? Where's she getting this whole, oh, Charlie's about to turn on Israel? She showed the text messages. She showed the letter to BB. And then she showed the text messages saying that I have no choice but to leave the pro-Israel, what was it, argument. I was like, oh, yeah. Now, I'm not saying that Israel had anything to do with his death. Like, that's yet to be proven or even like connected in any way, shape, or form. But it does sound like Israel was causing Charlie Kirk some trouble, or I would say AIPAC was causing Charlie Kirk some trouble during his final moments.
To ask that Israel is on the suspect list of who killed Charlie Kirk.
Which is insane. And where did you get that? The mainstream media that are trying to throw Israel under the bus into another conspiracy. They also said that Israel is behind 9/11. Of course, Israel also controls the mainstream media, right? Also Israel controls all the banks. That's why Israel demonizes Israel on the mainstream media.
Wait,
make perfect sense,
so which
right?
one is it?
Oh, big honcho. Okay, you're coming after me because of that one girl. What was her name? Jean Michaels, that lady, the white lady who came out and said that, oh, slavery was over exaggerated. Because it was. Yes, it was over exaggerated. Nobody's sitting here telling y'all that they weren't feeding, black kids to alligators. We're not saying that they weren't cattle slavery and making us and maiming us and making us sleep with our cousins and all that wild stuff. Nobody's saying that. We're saying that over 90% of white people in that day did not have slaves. So you guys are getting mad at 6 to 8%. You guys are blaming all white people for only 6 to 8% did in that time. Julia Michaels, that's her name, Julia Michaels, Julia Michaels, whatever. She was wrong. She said only 2%. It's actually 6 to 8% in the entire, out of all white people in America, 6 to 8% still means that over 92 to 93%, about 92 to 93% of white people did not own slaves. So you want to punish all white people? All white people got put into reparation for only 6 to 8% of them did? Is that fair? I mean, then you might as well throw all of us in jail for the crime that our small minority does. If that's what we're going off of. Throw all of us in jail. We all get to 20 years because of what this small little group of rowdy ass niggas is doing. Do you hear yourself? So yeah, like now nobody was saying there was no slavery in America. We're saying that it was over exaggerated, and then we use it as a whole victim card. It doesn't empower black people. It doesn't, bro. Our slavery history has been bastardized has been formed into a victim card for us. It's not a place of pride that we come from when we talk about, slavery. We come from a place of, I'm gonna be real, of low energy, of, oh, pity me. Oh, look what happened to me and my ancestors. Like, bitch, toughen up.
Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, just use common sense.
Man, a bunch of buttercups sometimes, man. Y'all be killing me.
There's a lot of Americans that are starting to question how much control the Israeli government has over our administration. I mean, you talk about the freedom of speech. You talk about there's contractors in certain states that if the state boycotts Israel, the contractor can't work for them or they can't receive aid money if their house gets hit by a tornado. What is going on?
So this is another very emotional issue, and I'll get grief just for saying this, but boycotting something is an American tradition. Not only did we boycott the British tea, we dumped it in the harbor, but there were boycotts at the time of everything British. Israel's per capita income rivals Europe, rivals ours. I mean, they've done incredibly well. They're smart, they're talented, they work hard.
The innovation that's coming out of there.
And the what?
The innovation that's coming out.
Innovation from tech, all of that stuff. That's also a reason why we shouldn't have to subsidize everything they do.
It is really hard to get U.S. politicians to speak about Israel or AIPAC. Many staffers shut us down the moment that we said we wanted to talk about those subjects, even if they previously said their senator was available for an interview. I mean, just watch this exchange on Breaking Points with Michigan Senator Elisa Slotkin.
Do you think AIPAC should register as a foreign lobby?
I don't know the answer to that. I think that I know plenty of people who think they should.
Mm-hmm.
I
It's
don't.
kind of a cop-out answer, don't you?
I mean,
Yeah.
I literally, I just guess I'd have to look at the definition. I certainly have had my tough moments with that organization.
Oh, no, they cook
and so you stop accepting their funding. You gotta get your facts straight.
Senator Slotkin has taken
Damn.
$656,000 from AIPAC Link Group.
Independent expenditures. That means she uses that for her own spending. Campaign contributions received from pro-Israel interest groups. Jesus, $656,000. Well, I mean, minus the 95, of course, but that is a lot of money for just you to be getting from AIPAC. And then, of course, you can use it on independent expenditures. I mean, hey, man, you see her pull up in a new G-Wagon every now and then. At least you know why. I mean, that's a lot of money. You could do a lot with that. Shoot, let's be honest. She could lose her salary and all that as a senator today, and she would still be well funded with AIPAC.
So it's no wonder she dodged these questions, and she's not alone. This is how the vast majority of our politicians are operating right now. And it just makes this whole thing weird, because if this is the right move and Israel is truly our greatest ally, then why are they so afraid to speak on it? It doesn't make any sense. We were just talking to a lot of senators' teams, and they said, yeah, you can talk to the senator, but one thing you cannot ask about is Israel. What's your take on that?
Well, I think for a lot of our elected politicians, Israel is a sensitive subject. That's concerning, because I think that when you ask somebody, what can I not talk about, the answer is, then you know who controls you. We can't talk about Israel. Why not? We give them our tax dollars. We fight in their wars. Is it money? Is it religion? Is it politics? Is it power? Is it a combination of all of them? I don't know. But in my mind, there is not a dollar amount on the planet worth turning a cheek to a genocide.
Israel is an extremely useful asset to
Couldn't do
have
it.
in the Middle East, both from a Western Empire domination perspective, as well as from a money-making, deal-making, political maneuvering perspective. It's very useful to have a nuclear-armed nation that depends on us for foreign aid and for their very survival in many ways. They're working on our behalf.
Like I said, there's a lot of technology connections. If you use an iPhone, you probably have a lot of stuff on there that comes from Israel. And there is a connection in terms of culture. I mean, the religious foundations.
To understand America's support for Israel, you have to look at the country's deep ties with American evangelical Christians. You see pastors like Kenneth Copeland funding Israeli surveillance, while others like Greg Locke are openly calling for Gaza's destruction.
Israel should make the Gaza Strip a parking lot by this time next week.
Hey, bro, chill. What? Chill. That is crazy. I ain't, like.
That shit is hard. Hey, bro, come on now, dog. Come on, man. That shit is hard.
A pastor saying that is wild.
In Israeli surveillance, while others like Greg Locke are openly calling for Gaza's destruction.
Israel should make the Gaza Strip a parking lot by this time next week.
It's evident that many on the Christian right fiercely defend Israel, and it's worth asking why. One theory is because evangelicals interpret biblical prophecy to mean Israel's survival is directly tied to the second coming of Christ. They take verses like Genesis 12:3, Ezekiel 37, and Revelation 16 to generally conclude that the end times will be centered around a battle for Jerusalem. So for many of these evangelicals, supporting Israel is not just a political stance, but it is a way of aligning with what they believe is God's unfolding plan for history.
Every president in recent memory, from Obama to Bush to Trump to Clinton, says Israel is our greatest ally. Why do you think they say that?
Israel has been a staunch ally in the Middle East.
No, I do remember this funny clip. Funny clip. I do remember this funny clip right here. Shout out Nick Fuentes. This is actually pretty damn funny.
Arrgh, I'm Dan Crenshaw. Can you please respect Israel? Can you please respect the Jewish state in the Middle East? Or you walk the plank? Can you please support a war in Iran? There be treasure. There be treasure in Israel. There be treasure at AIPAC. Arrgh.
Be treasure and going to war with Iran. And it's like, hey, hilarious.
They continue to be that way. But what has happened with the state of Israel is it has come under the control of a right-wing extremist who's not interested in peace. And that has led this country to where it is now committing genocide.
Are they our asset, or are we theirs, or a combination?
Isn't that the question? The Zionists would say that it's a partnership, right? The Zionists would say that we love Israel and Israel loves us and we support each other and we both promote Western values and we're both, he's the only democracy in the Middle East, right? Sort of. Assets are relationships based on manipulation, coercion, control, inherently. Allies is a relationship built on friendship and shared growth and shared gain. And ally is a word that I would not use to describe Israel. Do allies spy on each other secretly? Maybe. Do allies spy on the terrorists that conducted 9/11 and then not tell you what they're seeing? Maybe. Do allies send Jeffrey Epstein into the White House 17 times to apparently develop a relationship with the president of the United States and then probably blackmail him? Definitely not.
And let's just say we do want to be allies with Israel. Are we not able to hold them to standards that we should hold every other country to for war? Yeah, war is ugly. I get that. And you got to take out what they view as the bad guy, the militants. Okay, if you were taking them out specifically.
As Americans, what do we want in our legacy? We want to be honorable people who defended the voiceless, who defended the downtrodden. That's kind of our story. We're always rooting for the underdog. And then when it comes to this genocide, we are aiding and abetting the eradication of civilians. And I think us American citizens want the best for people, for humanity.
Yeah. One big thing Americans need to think about as we continue to fund Israel and stand by during the destruction of Gaza is this. Is our support of them helping us or hurting us on the world stage? Can we honestly say that backing Israel is winning us allies, or is it isolating us and turning much of the global community against the United States? Because at some point, we have to ask whether our loyalty...
Shout out to Chase, man. Says conspiracy hour. Let's go, man. We're damn near in it. But shout out to Chase because we are now $21 away from conspiracy hour. So appreciate the support, big dog.
loyalty to one nation is costing us the respect of the rest of the world.
The thing that makes conversations about Israel so complicated is that we are having this conversation inside of an information war. We are in the nexus of one of the largest propaganda campaigns the world has ever known, because there is an entire nation's future on the line. And so the first thing you need to understand in order to understand anything about the Israel conversation is that Israel knows that winning the hearts and minds of the American people is the most important victory that they can possibly have on the battlefield. And they spend billions of dollars targeting American minds through politics, through media, through brands, through celebrities, through every piece of messaging that they can possibly use. Because if America starts to genuinely question our relationship with Israel in any meaningful way, Israel has to rewrite their entire playbook of how they do what they do and what their goal is.
Folks, the truth is this is a very complicated issue that
I
would
don't know if they're even willing to try to rewrite the playbook, or else they'd have been did it when Charlie Kirk asked. I mean, Charlie Kirk's asked for them to rewrite the playbook, and look what happened to him. I'm not saying that Israel had anything to do with it. I'm just saying it kind of looks like bro got snubbed on that offer, or got snubbed on that I guess what was a recommendation.
An entire college course or hundreds of podcasts, I feel like, to really understand what we're talking about. So this would just be the tip of the iceberg, a springboard for you to start your own investigation.
And
But
yeah, it was fact.
you.
Oh, guys, let's not remember, bro. Like I said, shout out to Candace Owens. Some of y'all owe Candace Owens an apology for him, but she was right. She was right. Charlie Kirk was leaving the pro-Israel argument. He was leaving the pro-Israel side. He was right. Well, she was right. Now everybody needs to hand her an apology, but hey, man, you know, not too many people is going to do that.
Viewer, you also are a journalist in a way, or an investigator. When you speak with your friends, when you look up things online, you are also discovering the truth for yourself. So take nothing I say as the truth. Figure it out for yourself. But hopefully this points us in the right direction to ask questions that a lot of us feel deep in our gut, like something is off here, something is wrong here, and I will not be intimidated into not asking questions. After all, I'm a goddamn American. I feel fiercely proud to do this because so many people sacrificed their lives that we have this freedom. So may we always have it, or may we fight for it. Love you guys. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.
All right, looking for connections to Chicago's wanted fugitives. Oh, wow. Oh, man, shout out to this guy. Seems like he's doing a lot out here in these streets. Tommy G. Shout out. All right, so now let's get over here to what really happened on October 7th, since we're on that trail already, and then it's going to lead us all the way into the Nick Fuentes and Dave Smith debate. Well, not really a debate. It's more like a conversation, a friendly one at that. Or at least it started out. I'm only like, 30 minutes in. All right, guys, let's get to it.
About like the beheaded. After seeing or reviewing the footage, there was possibly 2 or 3 incidences where someone's intentionally killed a civilian. The crap that they talked about, like the beheaded babies, you don't see any of that. Oh, there's zero of that. Zero. Yeah, like, literally none of that exists in the videos. The vast majority of people, as you know.
Oh yeah, Charlie Kirk was leaving the pro-Israel side. Leaving. I mean, it's text messages that's been verified showing that yep, Charlie Kirk was leaving the pro-Israel argument.
Were killed by Israel. You had 1,150, at least 400 of them are soldiers, and then you had 750, and then they deployed the Hannibal Directive. You had shelling into certain kibbutzes. From a personal perspective, like you think about it from a psychology of somebody who's in Palestine, they're losing all the West Bank. They're losing all their homes, and it's just happening in a slightly slower process. It's nuts that like some dude from Brooklyn, right, Harvey from Brooklyn, can go to the West Bank and take a home there from someone that was born in from the land. Isn't that nuts? Yeah, it's mental. What do you think were the top reasons that October 7th happened? From Hamas's perspective? Yeah, from Hamas. I mean, I think the main reason was because they wanted to get their hostages. Yeah. And they wanted to basically negotiate and convert those hostages for Palestinian hostages. But the second reason is obviously they were concerned that what was going to happen was there was going to be some kind of overarching Abraham Accords, which would leave them without a place. And remember, you have to remember, like, you think this is like a bad maneuver, but if you look at it from this perspective, they've been ghettoized in that region since 67, right? Because if Israel wanted, they could have done 2 things. They won the war, right? They could either bring Gaza and the West Bank as part of Israel, right? Or they could have given it its separate state. but they didn't want to do either. They didn't want to give them a separate state, quite clearly, because they don't want Palestine to have a state.
Mhm.
But they didn't want to incorporate as part of Israel because then they have a minority population.
Yeah.
So the third option was.
So I was trying to explain to Brandon Tatum that like they would never have a one state because they would have to maintain the majority.
Exactly.
That's why they called it state.
Yeah.
But sorry, keep going.
And remember, like their plan, even since 48, was always we want to have 80-20. We always want to have more like 80 or 75% compared to, the Arab or the
Well, also because they know that, if they were to allow the Palestinians to assimilate in, they would quickly lose the advantage because they have kids faster. They have more kids.
Exactly, I agree with that. Because they claim that Israel's birth rate is quite high, but I think that's a lie.
You don't think it's as high? You
No.
don't think it's higher than us here in America, though, right?
I think they're lying.
Or you think they're lying about that?
Bro, like they're all LGBT, like into feminism. I think they're lying.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
So like that's the second reason. Because what will have happened is they were afraid of.
So number one was you would say hostages.
Number one's hostages.
To do a hostage negotiation. And it's funny because Western media never talks about that. That like, oh, they just went in there, just want to kill and pillage everybody. But I'm like, dude, it's about getting hostages.
And even like the pillaging thing, like there's no evidence of that, right? Like you've been through it so much in the last 2 years. I've been through it. Like there's zero, except for like, and we're honest, right? I think like we're not like blind. So after seeing or reviewing the footage, there was possibly 2 or 3 incidences where someone's intentionally killed a civilian.
Yeah.
And there's one that they didn't show us, but we've seen it now because they released it, but we already knew about it because what happened.
You're talking about the 45-minute video, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So guys, whenever they tell you, and I might as well tell the audience this, there's this video out there, like a 45-minute, 48-minute, 50-minute, somewhere in that range compilation video, okay? Where the Israeli government compiled all the GoPro footage and all the different camera angles they had, and they did like a compilation of what happened on October 7th. And you've seen the video in full, right?
So what I've seen is the website.
If you watch the BB files with me, then you've seen the video in full as well. It's a pretty bad video. I mean, they shot somebody's dog. Like, come on.
Of all the videos.
That's
I've seen all of that.
The scan code that he gave to the UN when he was at the UN.
Yeah. I've seen all that and the ones they released on the website. But this 48-minute video, what they try and make it look like is
a lot of it is Hamas fighters getting killed in there too.
Yeah, of course.
There's a lot of it is them like dying because they had these GoPros and it's them getting shot and dying on camera.
Exactly.
Like
it's like a lot of people running.
Yeah,
they're like running and trying to get to like hiding into certain places.
But yeah, the crap that they talked about, like the beheaded babies, you don't see any of that.
Oh, there's zero of that. Zero everything.
Yeah,
like, literally none of that exists in the videos. There's 4 incidences where you'd say, look, there is a possibility it's worth having a conversation about. 3, like I said, where there's a shooting. 1 looks like an assassination. And again, you don't know what happened before, what happened after, but just on the snippet.
Yeah.
Right. And then there's one video which, like, there were reporters who watched it. We weren't them. Owen Jones is one. Obviously, like many people disagree with him. But the point is, he said, look, I've seen the video and I've seen the other footage. And there's only like 1 extra incident that you would say is like problematic. And this incident that they released about a month or 2 ago, which is that there's a father and 2 children. The father runs into like this shelter and then they throw like a grenade.
I did see that one. Yeah. That resurfaced again like earlier this month. Yeah.
So
or last month.
So that's the only thing you'd say is extra, which is intentional killing, which is in the 48-minute video. So that's it really. So there's like 4.
Still horrible, right?
It is horrible. And we like it's not acceptable, right?
Yeah.
So those people, I think, those people who did it, let's look at this, unless they are guilty, they should be tried. And they should they should be tried in court. Like we don't agree with that. We don't agree with vigilantism, right? There's certain rules and ethics, both within Western society, which we agree with, and within Islam, which we agree with that you can't do. And this is an example of something that you shouldn't do. So but this whole idea that all of it happened like that is completely incorrect. Like the vast majority of people, as you know, were killed by Israel. You had 1,150, at least 400 of them are soldiers. And then you had 750, and then they deployed the Hannibal Directive. You had shelling into certain kibbutzes. I would say, like, if you ask me, Suleiman, how much people do you think Hamas actually killed? I'd probably say like 200, 250. That makes the most sense based on the situation.
I pegged it around 600.
Hamas killed.
Yeah, at most 600 they killed.
How could there be 600 though? Because like 1,150, take away 400 soldiers, 750.
Yep.
So you're saying Israel only killed like 100?
Yeah.
With Apache helicopters. Remember, when they killed Apache helicopters, just to give you the depth of how many people they killed.
I'm saying 600 at most.
At most.
At most is what I'm saying.
Yeah, of course. Like logically, that could be the max. But like I'm saying, like, what do I actually think? I think 200.
You think 200 were killed by Hamas?
Yeah, because let's just take that Apache helicopter.
Okay.
So the Apache helicopter.
Which, matter of fact, let me pull that up right now, because this is something that Brandon Tatum tried to tell me, like, oh, you know, Hamas killed all these people. I was like, bro, like, are you aware that literally those Apache helicopters, like, raining Hellfire missiles down? And the way, like,